Have you ever stayed in a relationship just because of history only, to realize it's slowly destroying your peace of mind? What if the person you need to walk away from, isn't a stranger, but someone you once loved or trusted deeply? Not all wounds bleed. Some relationships drain your energy quietly until one day you don't recognize yourself anymore. Have you ever felt like a certain relationship, maybe with a friend, partner, or even a family member, is quietly eroding your peace, confidence, and sense of self-worth? In today's video, we're going to break down 9 undeniable signs that it's time to walk away and cut contact, no matter how close that person might be. Because sometimes love isn't enough, and peace comes at the price of distance. Let's begin with a simple but powerful question. Is there someone in your life who constantly makes you feel guilty, judged, or only worthy when you meet their expectations? Someone who twists your kindness into a weakness, making you question your own value. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Creating distance doesn't mean you're cold-hearted. It means you finally chose to protect your peace, and that is self-respect. This video isn't just about spotting red flags, it's about reclaiming your power. I'll also give you practical ways to confront these toxic patterns, so you can let go without guilt, fear, or second-guessing yourself. And make sure you stay until the very end, because I'll reveal one of the most overlooked signs that many people ignore. The one that silently traps you in emotional exhaustion for years. You won't want to miss that. Before we dive in, if these insights speak to you, please tap the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I promise to bring you more content that nourishes your spirit and strengthens your relationships. Now, let's begin with sin number 1. Avoid people who never spend money on you, only excuses. Have you ever met someone whose first sentence is always about not having money? At first, you might feel sympathy. Maybe they're struggling, and you want to be understanding. But look closer. These same people often seem to live comfortably, enjoying vacations, hobbies, and personal luxuries. Yet, when it comes to you, suddenly they can't contribute. They dodge responsibility. They make excuses every single time. This isn't about financial hardship. It's about calculated behavior. I once had a friend exactly like this. Whenever we made plans, he always claimed he was short on cash. But I noticed he never hesitated to spend on things he enjoyed or people he wanted to impress. Then one day, he backed out of a trip we had planned for months. Not because he couldn't afford it, but because he simply didn't value my presence enough. That moment, it changed everything. It taught me a lesson. True relationships are built on respect and reciprocity, not empty words and constant excuses. Whether it's a friend, family member, or romantic partner, mutual effort matters. If you're always the one giving while they just take something's off balance, and that imbalance becomes emotional weight you don't deserve to carry, because healthy relationships are never one-sided. They're built on equality, respect, and shared care. If someone consistently fails to show up, not just financially, but emotionally and mentally, it's a sign. A loud one. Don't ignore it. We ended the last section with a tough truth. When someone treats you like a resource instead of a real person, it's time to draw the line. Now let's look at the next kind of relationship that slowly poisons your peace. Those filled with constant conflict. Second, avoid people who often quarrel and take sides. Have you ever felt like every conversation with someone turns into a battlefield. That's what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who always argues, someone who never misses a chance to stir up drama. Even the smallest disagreements turn into emotional wars. And worse, they don't just argue with you, they drag you into their fights with others, forcing you to pick sides. Like you're a soldier in a battle that isn't even yours. These people don't just drain their own emotional energy, they steal your peace, little by little. Let me share something personal. I once had a friend who seemed confident, even charismatic on the surface. But whenever we disagreed even about something as small as where to eat, he would instantly turn defensive, argumentative, and loud. One day, during a light-hearted gathering with friends, we were discussing plans for an upcoming trip. A minor difference of opinion came up. Instead of brushing it off or discussing it calmly, he immediately turned it into a heated debate, then looked at me, demanding that I back him up in front of everyone. That moment changed our friendship forever. I realized something crucial. When a person constantly fuels conflict and expects blind loyalty, maintaining a healthy, respectful bond becomes impossible. Arguing all the time isn't a sign of strength. It's often a mask for deeper insecurities and a lack of emotional control. People who habitually argue, who must win every conversation, miss something essential: the ability to grow, to reflect, and to connect. They damage not just their relationships, but also their own potential for personal development. A truly wise person doesn't chase victories in every debate. They prioritize peace, clarity, and calm resolution. They listen more than they shout. They understand before they respond. So, if you find yourself constantly caught in arguments, or worse, pulled into emotional battles that aren't yours, pause, reflect, ask yourself, is this bringing peace to my life, or slowly destroying it? Protecting your calm isn't weakness, it's wisdom, and it's something we all deserve. Third, avoid people who take others' worries lightly in this life. Every one of us carries our own invisible burdens. No two are exactly the same. Your stress, your fears, your personal struggles, they are unique, real, and deserve to be heard. But one of the most painful experiences is opening up about your difficulties only to have someone dismiss them, minimize them, or worse, make it about themselves. That's not just disrespect, it's a quiet betrayal of trust. I remember once confiding in a longtime friend. I told him how emotionally draining it was to juggle a demanding job while caring for my aging parents. Instead of listening with empathy, he brushed off my words and immediately shifted the conversation to his own work problems, as if what I shared didn't matter. That moment didn't just leave me disappointed. It hurt, I realized. Then true connection can only exist when both people feel heard, when your pain is acknowledged, not compared, when someone listens, not just responds. Respect doesn't always come from grand gestures. Often, it's found in the smallest things: a heartfelt thank you, a sincere "I'm sorry," or simply staying silent and present while someone shares their heart. But when someone lacks even those basics, when they can't celebrate your wins or stand beside you in your losses, that's not a relationship. It's a one-sided performance. And if they find joy in your pain or satisfaction in your failures, that's not just toxic, it's dangerous. While we can't control how others behave, we can absolutely choose who we allow into our sacred space. Choose people who respect your emotions, who honor your struggles, and who show genuine care. Surround yourself with people who don't just stand beside you when things are easy, but who walk with you when life gets heavy. those are the relationships that heal, that last, that matter. Wednesday, avoid people who try to force their religion or political views on you. None of us are exactly the same. And that's what makes human relationships so beautifully diverse. True connection doesn't come from making others think like us, but from recognizing and respecting differences and building shared values from that place. Yet some people constantly try to impose their personal beliefs, whether religious, political, or philosophical, on others. This kind of behavior doesn't just exhaust the other person, it silently creates deep cracks in the relationship. I remember a former friend I was once very close with, but every time we talked, he would try to convince me that his way of life was the only correct one, that I needed to change my mindset and beliefs. At first, I tried to reason with him and defend my own perspective, but after each conversation, I felt emotionally drained and distant. Eventually, I realized these debates never led to understanding. They only pushed us further apart. When two people are only focused on defending their egos, no amount of talking will build something meaningful. Even if you win the argument, the satisfaction is fleeting and often comes at the cost of mutual respect or emotional closeness. The biggest loss isn't winning or losing the debate, it's losing respect and leaving behind invisible wounds that take a long time to heal. A wise person doesn't argue to be right. They listen, empathize, and know when to walk away. The real victory in a relationship isn't beating the other person, it's rising above your own ego to find harmony together. And you'll realize this. When you let go of the need to be right, you not only improve the relationship, but you also find a deep inner peace that no argument can ever give you, if you've made it this far. Comment the word peace below so I know you're still walking this journey with me. Let's keep learning, growing, and building a better life together. Thursday, if someone constantly makes you feel tense, it's okay to step away from them. Have you ever noticed that someone who once made you laugh and feel alive now makes you feel disconnected? That doesn't mean you did something wrong, and it doesn't always mean they've changed for the worse. Sometimes life just pulls us in different directions. Life changes, and so do we. Our interests, values, and perspectives shift over time. And occasionally, a relationship that once felt in sync starts to feel offbeat. I remember a story from a colleague. He told me about a childhood friend, someone he used to watch movies with, play sports with, and dream big dreams alongside. But life led them down to very different paths. One moved to a big city, built a career, and started a family. The other stayed in their hometown, living a quiet, simple life. Their rare reunions no longer felt the same. Conversations turned awkward, full of polite small talk and a silent distance they couldn't explain. He admitted that, at first, he tried hard to save the friendship. But the more he tried, the more he realized they had both changed too much to truly reconnect. So he chose to step back. Not because he stopped caring, but because he understood. Sometimes, letting go is the best way to honor what you once had. Because relationships are like a dance. When your steps no longer move in rhythm, instead of dragging each other in exhaustion. Sometimes the kindest thing to do is stop and let each person rediscover their own rhythm. When a relationship loses its balance, what you need is not blame but the wisdom to know when to let go. A healthy relationship is like a dance. It takes two people moving in rhythm. But when that rhythm falters, both begin to feel out of sync, awkward, and eventually exhausted. In those moments, Instead of blaming yourself or the other person for changing, sometimes the wisest choice is simply to take a step back. That doesn't mean you have to erase someone from your life. It means creating space so both of you can grow and evolve in your own way. A gentle separation with respect and awareness is often far better than holding on to a connection that no longer fits. Life is always changing, and relationships are no exception. The point isn't to resist change, but to recognize when something is worth holding on to, and when it's time to move on. Cherish the memories, but don't be afraid to let a relationship become a beautiful part of your past. Sometimes letting go isn't just an act of respect for the other person, it's an act of self-respect. 6. Stay away from people who only complain about themselves. Have you ever felt like an emotional dumping ground? A place someone comes to just to unload their sadness, frustrations, and endless complaints. Everyone needs a shoulder to lean on in tough times. But real sharing comes from empathy, not selfishness. If someone only vents and never considers your feelings, they're not seeking connection. They're using you as an outlet for their negativity. And that doesn't just drain your energy. It pulls you into a storm of emotional chaos that was never yours to carry. I once had a friend named Sarah, former co-worker I was very close with. At one point, my mother was seriously ill. I was juggling work and caregiving them incredibly stressful time when I desperately needed support. But Sarah came to me every single day, not to check in or offer comfort, but to vent about petty things. I hate my job. My boss is the worst. My husband is useless. While I was emotionally drained and barely holding it together, she never once asked how I was doing. I tried shifting the topic to my mum, but she immediately steered the conversation back to herself. Every talk with Sarah felt like being swept into an emotional whirlpool, followed by guilt for not having the energy to help her then. One day, right after my mum's major surgery, Sarah called just to complain that I took too long to reply to her texts. That was the moment I realized I had to set a boundary. I told her honestly, "Sarah, I can't keep doing this. I have too much on my plate, and I need people around me who can share the load and show some empathy." She was silent for a long time. Eventually, a distance grew between us. It was painful, but the right choice to protect my peace. We need to understand, not every sadness needs to be shared, and you are not obligated to be the emotional trash can for someone else, especially when they have no intention of improving their situation. Learn to listen selectively. Set clear boundaries. Invest your time and energy in people who genuinely care about you, not just themselves. Listening isn't just about hearing with your ears. It's about feeling with your heart. And that's what nourishes meaningful relationships. Both people feel valued, and once you've learned to treat yourself with kindness, the next thing you need to do is stop expecting too much from others. The world isn't always fair, but you always have a choice, and at the very least, you can choose to be kind to yourself. 7th, stay away from people who make promises lightly or icily break them. Have you ever waited for someone who never showed up, and then received a lazy excuse, or worse, no explanation at all? How does it feel to realize you're not a priority in someone else's eyes? A promise isn't just a few words. It's a commitment, a reflection of respect and trust. And the most heartbreaking part isn't when the promise is broken. It's when the person acts like they never made it in the first place. It doesn't just break trust. It makes you feel like you were never more than a backup plan, a fleeting thought in their life. I still remember once, sitting at my favorite cafe, a place I loved, waiting for a friend, just like we had planned. At first I thought she was stuck in traffic or caught up in something urgent. But after more than an hour of waiting, I got a short message. "Oh shoot, totally forgot we had plans today. So sorry, it wasn't the first time." And in that moment, I realized continuing to tolerate this would only lead to more hurt. She didn't mean to upset me, but her indifference and broken promises said everything I needed to hear. When a relationship becomes an emotional burden, when respect and commitment are no longer the foundation, that's when you need to take a serious step back. Remember, respecting yourself sometimes means letting go of relationships that no longer bring value. A healthy relationship is never built on empty promises or emotional neglect. Listen to your true feelings. You deserve relationships where both people cherish each other. And if someone can't do that, don't hesitate to walk away. Every time you bravely say no to someone who doesn't respect you, you open the door for better people to enter your life. Never forget, you don't just deserve love. You deserve to be respected, in both words and actions. 8th, stay away from people who keep repeating the same worries over and over. Have you ever felt like someone keeps coming to you with their worries, but they have no intention of solving the problem? They just want a bit of temporary comfort. And that's okay. We all need to feel understood sometimes. But if you're constantly pulled into repetitive conversations where that person never makes a move to change and even dismisses every suggestion, then that relationship is no longer helping either of you grow. It's just keeping you both stuck. I once had an old colleague who always complained about her job. At first, I thought she just needed someone to listen. So I sat with her, listened wholeheartedly, even offered practical ideas to help her improve things. But time after time, she did nothing and then came back to complain again. Eventually, I realized she didn't really want change. She just wanted someone to confirm that her feelings were valid. And one day, I gently told her, "I really value our friendship. But if we keep going in circles like this, neither of us is going to get better. If you truly want to improve things, I'll always be here. But that has to start with you." She wasn't happy, but I knew I did the right thing. Listening to others is a kind act, but if it stops there and leads to no change, it drains energy. From both sides, a good friend isn't someone who just nods and agrees. They're brave enough to offer honest advice, even when it might upset the other person. Because lasting friendships aren't built on shallow sympathy. They're built on support and encouragement to grow together. Remember, kindness isn't just comforting someone when they're sad. It's helping them become strong enough to move through the sadness. And once you've learned that real value lies in action, not in empty promises, there's another type of person you'll eventually come across. The ones who constantly brag about their past, as if it's the only thing they've ever had. Have you ever met someone who, no matter the topic, somehow always circles back to the glory days of what they used to accomplish? They talk about the awards they won, the highs they reached as if those moments were the peak of their life, and everything after that just faded out. At first, you might find them interesting, maybe even inspiring, but over time, something becomes clear. Those stories aren't joy, they're a mask covering up how lost or stuck they feel in the present. I used to know someone like that. Every chance he got, he'd bring up the prestigious awards he'd won years ago. He'd describe each detail like it just happened yesterday. But when I asked about how things were going now, he'd deflect, change the subject, go quiet, and that's when it hit me. He wasn't living in the present anymore. He was trapped in the past, clinging to old achievements as the last thread of his self-worth. The saddest part wasn't that he used to be successful. It was that his constant bragging began to push people away. Because no one wants to build a relationship that revolves around back when I was. We need to understand something. Bragging about the past doesn't make you more valuable in the eyes of others. In fact, it often creates distance-making. People feel disconnected or even inferior. Truly confident people don't need to show off. They let the present speak for them. It's how they live today, their mindset, their actions, their honesty that proves their worth. Humility doesn't make you small, it makes you likable. It earns you respect not because of who you used to be, but because of who you are right now. Like the old saying goes, silence is golden, and the people who truly understand that are often the ones worth listening to. If you've ever overcome something hard, or if you're currently rebuilding yourself, I'd love to hear your story. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and drop a comment below. You can share a win, a loss, or just type the word peacefulness. So I know you made it all the way to the end. Your engagement helps this community grow. Together, we're learning how to face life with clarity, strength, and calm. I'm leaving 2 more videos right here so you can keep moving forward on your journey of personal growth. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.